You've worked with James Cameron, Chris Hemsworth, Burt Reynolds, Johnny Depp. That's really cool. What was that like?
I'll never forget going to his house, and I'm like walking around, and obviously you're looking for him. So I call him, like, hey, I'm at your house. He goes, yeah, I know. I'm like, where are you? He goes, France. But yeah, I'm having the party tonight. You guys have fun. I'm like, okay.
Spending all that time in Hollywood, did you hear about like demonic type parties?
Never did I was in the thick of it. I feel like there's layers.
I mean, what's it like seeing what's happened in LA? Gotten a little crazy, right?
It's sad, yeah. James Cameron comes in my office one day and was like, if I could do one thing in the world for you, what would you want? I want to go to space. See him a couple weeks later. There's a ticket down on my desk, and he's like, all right, we're going to space. And I'm like, what the fuck did I just get into? I had about a 30-minute conversation with Elon, just one-on-one. He told me how he's gonna nuke Mars and live on it. And I'm like, is that legal?
Richie Walls, welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here.
So Richie is my good friend, just for everybody knowing, he's my good friend, an Emmy Award winning producer. You've worked with James Cameron, Johnny Depp, Chris Hemsworth, Burt Reynolds. Burt was also, I know, your friend.
Yeah.
You own the Scene Entertainment agency, and we'll get into kind of all that stuff. And then your production company as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell everybody a little bit, where you're from. You're partners with John T., who's now a good friend as well. And you've done a lot in the entertainment industry, but you're from Knoxville.
Yeah.
You're from Tennessee.
Yeah, I was actually born in Chattanooga, and then we moved to Bristol, Virginia, and that's kind of where we went to high school and grew up, and kind of like he's even circled back to Bristol this year. But then my brother went to Tennessee to play football, was the kicker, won the national championship in '98, played the next few years.
What was your brother's name?
Alex Walls.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had a very athletic past, and I kind of had zero interest in this, or everybody wants to be a movie star growing up, or I'm probably more a rock star. But we were really focused on athletics, and I was kind of traveling the country. We kind of grew up with Lance Armstrong and Greg LeMond and those type of guys that are still kind of my heroes, and then my brother was off doing soccer and football, and then played at Tennessee and went to the NFL.
Nice. Where did your brother play?
He went to the Bears from Tennessee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and so what did you study in school?
I really had zero idea what I wanted to do. So I was running track on a scholarship. I was doing cross country in the fall, track in the spring, and indoor track in the winter. So I was like a full-time athlete, and I just kind of did basic studies, and literally, like, when I got out of school, I called my agent. I'd fell into the modeling world, and I had been recruited to do some Fashion Week stuff, and I didn't really like it. I just kind of I liked the agency part of it, and that's kind of how I fell into it. Called my agent, told him I wanted to be an agent, and went up to New York and Miami and some places, and then finally settled in LA.
Awesome. Yeah, I knew that you ran track, but I didn't realize you did that in college. So how did you decide, what was the catalyst in deciding you wanted to get into film?
Well, I was in Hollywood, and I was running one of the top fashion modeling agencies in the world, and we had Paris Hilton, and started most of the Victoria's Secret Angels and all the Miss Universe girls. That's how we fell into the Miss USA stuff.
What was that agency?
It's called Warning Models.
Okay.
And we were top 5 in the world. Literally, every night I was, taking Paris Hilton to whatever she had to do, and we were booking all these major campaigns during the day, and I definitely was living the Hollywood life. I didn't really even realize that I literally was just barely, at that point, barely sleeping, just kind of in the Hollywood mix. And I really wanted to do TV and film. I was like, if there's one show I should work on, it's Entourage. And so I kept submitting and kept calling Sheila Jaffe, and she'd never call me back. And I finally one day just kind of was like, I don't know if I snapped or so, but I called Miss Switzerland into my office. That's actually how I know Brando, is through her.
Through Miss Switzerland?
Yeah, through Miss Switzerland.
How did Brando know Miss Switzerland?
Yeah, he was dating Miss Switzerland.
Okay, that
yeah. But I sent her over to the Entourage office, and literally was like, get off on the 5th floor, walk down the hallway and act like you're lost. And Miss Switzerland literally is like walking around, walks right into like Doug Ellen's office or Mark Wahlberg's office or whoever was over there at the time. Didn't get a phone call. So I called another Miss Universe girl the next day, called a Playmate girl the next day, called another model the next day, and I was just determined. So finally, after about 2 weeks, I got a phone call, and literally it's Mark Wahlberg on the phone, and he's like, "You think you're funny, don't you?" And I'm like, "Well, I got the phone call," and he's like, "Here's your shot." And I sent 50 of the top models in the world to the Queen Mary in Long Beach, and
What's the Queen Mary?
it's like one of the big ships.
Okay.
And they were shooting Vinny's birthday party, and I had like a couple of Victoria's Secret angels and girls like that I'd sent for the show. They basically auditioned them on set, call me like, "You're my guy." That could have ended another way, because also the Queen Mary is, you're familiar with LA. That could have been probably 2 hours in traffic for these girls, and I could have lost all 50 clients if they'd showed up and they were just messing with me.
Yeah. So they showed up, and what happened?
They put them on the show, and it's one of my favorite episodes of the series. That's kind of where my career kind of started, and they gave some of them lines, and so they, we basically worked on that show for the next 7 years. In that time, my buddy started Marvel Studios with Stan Lee. He took an opportunity that Stan was kind of blowing him off, and Stan Lee was like, "Yeah, come back when you have $200 million." And my buddy David Mizell, he showed up like probably 2 weeks later with $250 million, and basically Stan Lee just says, "Okay, guess we're starting a studio. What's your favorite movie?" And it was Iron Man. I mean, "What's your favorite superhero?" And it was Iron Man. So they did that first.
And so what did you do with that?
They would always call me for all the pretty actors. So at that point, we started signing more people. We started focusing more on the acting. We had the background of having all the models, so I became kind of the guy in Hollywood that everybody came to for pretty actors and pretty models. So
how did you start within the managing models?
When I got out of school, I called my agent and just told him I wanted to be an agent. And I kind of jumped around, went to Florida. And when I really kind of locked it down and got serious, I went to New York and worked for a company called MMG. That's one of the big powerhouses in New York. And New York was amazing. And I was there for a while. They gave me a lot of reign to kind of do what I was good at there. But when I got off the plane in LA for a convention that we all went to, I never wanted to go back. I knew I was home when I landed in LA.
And that, what year was that?
It was like 2005.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember, my old girlfriend from 20 years ago, AJ Almasi.
Yeah.
We talked about that the other day. I didn't realize that you knew her. She did a Hawaiian Tropics event, I guess, that you put on in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I went with her to that thing.
That was the world finals. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess we crossed paths then.
Yeah.
Did you ever work with AJ?
Mm-hmm. I was her agent. Yeah. We actually, I think we put her on a movie poster for like one of the Van Wilder movies.
Yeah, that's right.
We definitely put her in a bunch of things, but.
That's funny, man. That's a small world. Yeah, she moved out there probably, it's like 2004, I think it was. Mm-hmm. She moved to LA. I drove her out there. It was like my first long-term relationship. We were together for like 4 years.
That's wild.
And so, yeah, it was, I spent a lot of time out there. My mom worked for American Airlines, so I was able to, fly for free. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I had a nonstop to LA on American. And, yeah, that was the start of me being in LA,
nice.
On a regular basis.
I mean, those were the good days. I mean, that's when we were out. It was like Paris Hilton every night and Britney Spears, and that's when everybody. It's kind of like pre-TMZ era that everybody could go out and have a good time, and nobody is like on their phones the whole time. You're kind of enjoying the moment.
Yeah, those were the days. I was going out to. We would hang out at the Comedy Store. Yeah, with Eddie Bravo and Joe Rogan. So those were some great years when I look back.
That's about the only thing I miss from LA is the nightly Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, improv kind of rounds with the guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like, it's one of the things that we share in common because a lot of people don't have that experience. But when we became friends and met in Hollywood, you're like, let's go to the Comedy Store. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And you're good friends with Chris D'Elia as well. And I knew Chris from his ex-girlfriend, Cassie.
Yeah.
And he's actually a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude's solid.
Yeah. I mean, he's one that's like I said, I miss that being able to hang out with him like every day.
Yeah.
But, they have to be there and they have to be in that circuit and rounds. And that's where they're prepping their specials.
Sure.
And, but yeah, I mean, I love Chris. I mean, he just came to our premiere in LA a couple of weeks ago, and I went to see him in Chattanooga. Like literally the day I got back from Cannes, I got in my car and went to see him down there.
Yeah. I mean, Chris, he's been at the house here. He went to one of the 4th of July parties years ago. And when Cassie started dating him, she's like, oh, you got to meet Chris. And I flew out there. I mean, just really, actually, I was in LA for work. And so had dinner. She's like, oh, you got to stay at the house. Got to stay at the house. I'm like, look, Cassie, I don't know this guy. He's very nice, but I don't feel comfortable just staying at this guy's house. Like, I can get a hotel. It's no big deal. And, Cassie can be persuasive. She's like, no, you got to stay. You got to stay. So we're having coffee one morning with her and Chris. And she's like, Chris, Ed's staying here next time. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And so next time I came in, I stayed at Chris's house. And I'm like, this poor guy. He doesn't know me that well. And
knowing Chris, too, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, sorry. I mean, we joke about it now, but it shows you how how nice he is, really, because he didn't have to do that. And he knew I was uncomfortable. Like, bro, I'm not going to like, Cassie's one of my best friends, but, I'm uncomfortable just staying at your house. But as you can tell, she keeps bringing it up. So
I'm going to say.
Yeah. It's like, all right. And
I mean, he's building the most incredible family right now. I mean, he went through a lot through the whole like cancel culture and I mean, having his first boy like kind of changed his life and then he got married to Kristen and then they just had another kid and I mean, they're building a house right now and it's just it's been great to watch him grow into who he is as a family man because kind of I feel like we all were like, career single for for a long time.
Well, and that whole thing that happened to him happened to a lot of people. And when you get the mob against you, and at that time, you just had mobs of people attacking for. I don't know the specifics of it, but I know that he got attacked by the mob.
Yeah,
and it's good to see somebody come out the other side and stay focused and build his family, build his career, and those type of things. It's all positive.
Yeah, he jokes about it now, but I mean his new stuff is just incredible. I mean he's just kind of like, all right, you canceled me once, you're not going to cancel me again. He's like, I'm going to say what I want and I'm going to do what I think's right. And his new special is going to be great. I mean we're probably going to produce it with him and get it out there next year. That's
awesome. Yeah, his drunk girl little skit, that's one of my favorite skits out there. I mean, anybody who watches that has seen that drunk girl.
Oh yeah. There's not one person that like, oh, like I know the name. Oh, I know the drunk girl.
Yeah,
immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm gonna get him back into movies and a bunch of things too. I mean, he's too talented of an actor not to do it again. I mean, Netflix screwed him really bad. I mean, they spent like, I don't know, like $5 million to take him out of a movie. And I mean, he can speak for himself, but it's just a crazy scenario to not have done anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I feel like the pendulum's been swinging, it was swinging one direction and it got completely insane and crazy. And now it's starting to swing back to some normalcy and people aren't afraid anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, before, you get these statements that people would put out and be like, I need to do better and do better. If you ever want to like read all those, like do better. People like do better. It's like, fuck off.
Just do the right thing to begin with, and you're not going to have any problems.
Exactly. But now, when the mob comes, especially if it's complete BS, people now can stand up and say, you know what, I don't care. Try to cancel me, and if you're successful, then you did what you wanted to do. But I'm not going to change who I'm being or go hide just to allow the mob to pass.
I mean, I feel like I flipped a switch at the end of last year and just was like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing right. I know we're going to do it. And we're going to do it here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what more people need to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's it like, seeing kind of what's happened in LA with because it's gotten a little crazy, right?
It's sad. Yeah. I mean, it's even worse to be there and then kind of it's not the same place anymore. I mean, my highlights of the last few years when I'm there is when people like you come out that we get to kind of go out and do some fun things but it's really not normal. I mean, it's just not safe anymore. It's there's been so many strikes and people have to leave because they can't basically afford to live there and they're not working that, like a lot of last year, the strike was going on after Cannes. So from the beginning of the year to go to this amazing event and then go back to LA for the rest of the year, and just like people aren't out, people aren't eating. Yeah. They're afraid to go places because of crime. And it's just, it's just not a great place to be when, I don't know, like when I started there, it could have been its own country at that point and thriving.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, I always like to stay at the Roosevelt, and I love that hotel. And when did we go? When did I go meet you out there? It was probably 6 months ago. When were you living there?
It was like last fall.
Last fall, okay, yeah, 6-8 months ago, and I remember it was September of last year because Laura had a concert she was going to. And I flew with her, and I didn't really want to go to the concert, so she went with her friends, and then you and I went out that night. We had a great time that night, but got back, was a little drunk, and have Sherlock, our little Shih Tzu, and I wanted pizza. It was like late night, drunk, want pizza, and I walked about a mile down Hollywood Boulevard at 1 a.m. Looking for a pizza shop with Sherlock. Sherlock was my little, and looking back, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, not safe.
Not safe at all. By myself. Yeah. And Hollywood Boulevard has just gotten. I mean, it's like
dangerous.
Yeah,
it's not the tourist attraction that it used to be. It's literally just dirty and it's a lot of crime.
Yeah, a lot of crime. I'm glad nothing happened. Yeah, when I was there the time before, someone got shot right out in front of Marshall's, which is across the street from.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times at that one spot even. I think that's like something going on in that corner.
Yeah. But what's your favorite spot to go to right now in LA? Is there any good spots left?
I like the restaurants. I mean, that's where Quentin Tarantino wrote a lot of his projects and spent a lot of time. It's my favorite Thai place on Sunset. The Catch restaurants are amazing. I mean, like those.
Yeah, we went to the Catch in LA during the Grammys, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to the rooftop one or the steak one?
The steak one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're great. And then, really, this last trip, I was there a few weeks ago for our premiere it's a project called Last Night on Earth. And literally, I stayed in Beverly Hills, and I went to Soho House once. Didn't even go to Catch. Just stayed in Beverly Hills and
just too dangerous.
Just was bored. I mean, I was talking. Shane West he's the lead in that, one of the leads in that movie. And last fall, I was like, man, I'm so bored. And he's like, then come back to Nashville. Yeah, because I'm just having FOMO, seeing everybody doing things here, and then there, I'm like, just was like, this wasn't the same. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people have moved. It's really not the same place, but everybody there. Yeah. I mean, all the doormen at any of the restaurants or clubs. Yeah, you can just walk in. I mean, you were the guy in the mid 2000 area that had the models all that you were the agent of. So all the clubs want models, and you got them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was fun. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's like residual now. Like we still go back and it still happens everywhere we go. So,
yeah.
It's like, Hollywood will always be in my heart. And especially, I'm a diehard Laker fan and love the Dodgers. And, but yeah, it's just, I feel like I finally feel like I'm at home here.
Yeah.
I know I haven't even told you this. I mean, in December, I decided, I was sitting with my parents and I was supposed to go back to LA in January. We were going to do a movie with John and Brian Conley and Conley Entertainment Group. And I was just like, I just feel like I'm being pulled and I need to like do this on my own, and came here in January, got a place, moved in my new place, and hadn't really told anybody that I was here. And I literally go up to the gym, I'm on the treadmill, and it was like a life-changing experience. Like literally the clouds are like, it was like one of the brightest lights I've ever seen in my life. And I'm literally like having a conversation with God on the treadmill. And I've never felt more at peace, completely happy, and just know that what I'm doing is like my plan.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, after COVID and dealing with all of this stuff, a lot of people are trying to find their purpose and what they want to do with their life. So Nashville's a good place to kind of settle down in. And especially with it's growing so fast, opportunities for seeing what you started this year are pretty much endless, right?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, it's just like I had to kind of like step back. Even the other day, we got off a call, and I looked at Brando and Drew, and I was like, "Is this our lives? Like, this is really happening?" Because it's just like everything that we've worked for, and we've really worked hard for it. And kind of like you have like wins and losses, and it just keep having these amazing opportunities that we're really trying to like have the infrastructure to do.
Yeah, I mean, so let's go back though a little bit to, you started working in film. It was kind of the modeling access that got your foot in the door. What was your next step with that, and what year was this, so we can kind of follow along?
I mean, if you fast forward probably to like 2011 or 12, yeah, about 2011. I kept having these conversations with, we were the agency. And, I thought about this the other day too. Like, it was kind of like I've always had like the personality when I hit a certain point with something, I'm like, oh, okay, I did it. Let's try something new. And I didn't realize it's, a lot of people stick with that. And that's how you become successful, is you keep sticking with the success.
Oh yeah.
And, around that time, I had so many big managers and big studio heads. And at that point, I was hanging out a lot with like Tom Pollock. Tom Pollock had been the chairman of Universal Pictures, and he retired. And the first movies, he had done were like Road Trip and Euro Trip. And, he did, I'm brain farting. What's the Old School? And kind of got into like, all the fun movies that we like. And they were telling me, man, like you should be a producer. Like you should really be a producer. And I'm like, but I'm so good at being an agent. I'd have to be a manager to be a producer. And it finally clicked. I'm like, why not? Like you can do the same thing that you were doing as an agent. You can be a manager. You can still help these people. You can have the same day to day, but you can learn how to produce. And I partnered up with a company called Film Engine Entertainment. They did the original Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. They did the Rum Diary with Johnny Depp, and when I came on, I mean, they kind of just threw me in. I mean, all of a sudden, I'm the vice president of a film company overnight with zero experience. Didn't go to film school. All I do is know how to put pretty people in jobs, and they gave me a great opportunity. And I mean, I learned quick. I watched. We had meetings every Monday that I would sit in, and I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm going to take it all in, and then I'm going to go out the rest of the week and just try to figure out what the hell I'm doing. And it was an amazing experience. And, Anthony passed away a few years ago. And in that time, we produced a movie called Hunter's Prayer with Sam Worthington, who's incredible. And obviously he's in the movie Avatar. And through that, became close with James Cameron and his family, and literally, James Cameron comes in my office one day, and literally was like, "If I could do one thing in the world for you, what would you want?" And I'm like, "All right, what's the hardest thing to do? Go to space." So I'm like, I want to go to space. So, like, kind of like jokingly, conversation over, moves on. See him a couple weeks later. Throws a ticket down on my desk, and he's like, "All right, I'm building a spaceship. We're going to space. We're gonna have a beer on the moon." And I'm like, "What the fuck did I just get into?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't want to go to space." And he's like, "What?" And it was like him and his brother John, who also John passed away a couple years ago, but great. I mean, these guys were amazing people. And they're like, "Well, what would you want?" And I'm like, "Put your name on my company." And I mean, we started a company that day.
Wow.
It was called Cameron Rock Walls, and they just started writing checks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were partners with James Cameron?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Him and his brother. And
so how did that, so what happened with that? What all did you do together?
So obviously he's focused on, the $1.5 billion that Fox has given him to do 5 avatars. So, I mean, it was just kind of like a favor. Here's money. This is what they do. And it was a cool experience. I mean, it was kind of like at that point, I wasn't really developing projects. He's obviously not going to bring me on to produce Avatar. But we would spend a lot of time together. We got to go to the Avatar set a lot. We would go down to the beach. We'd have these like 2-3 hour Beverly Hills lunches.
Nice.
And I mean, it's hard to get things done when you're spending that much time traveling to the studios and then spending all this wasted time and these lunches. It's fun. It's cool. But what am I really doing with my life here other than taking somebody else's money and just having these fancy lunches? So I had the opportunity to come to Tennessee 2016 to meet with this guy named Gordon Whitener. He'd came up a few times in LA. He was wanting to get into movies. That's who I met, actually introduced me to John Black. And Gordon, I came in, at that point I'm like, okay, man, like I'm working with James Cameron. Like it's going to take a lot for me to come back to Tennessee and do a movie in Knoxville. And he's like, it's with Burt Reynolds. I'm like, I'm in. And we put the company together. We put the project together. I didn't even go home. I went shopping and bought clothes for the next couple months because I was going to be on set. And we did the most amazing experience of my life doing this project with Burt Reynolds.
Wow.
It was wrote and directed by Adam Rifkin. Amazing guy. He wrote this for Burt. He literally waited 10 years to make the movie because at that point, Burt wasn't ready in his life to kind of have a real project that basically mirrors his life of him being an older movie star that isn't as famous as he used to be. I mean, he probably would have beat all of our asses in the room at 10 years before. And we made this amazing project, and I went back to LA, and literally it was like, I think I want to go to Nashville. And
it's 2016.
Yeah. We shot 2 days here and we shot 20 days in Knoxville. And, I had came here with my brother and some people and didn't really know. I think I knew one person that played this guy, Dan, played football with my brother, and didn't know anybody. And I just was sitting on my couch in LA and I was like, man, that place just something's happening.
Yeah.
And it took me about a year, and we had our offices in Beverly Hills, and the whole time, man, I'm in my brain for the next year. I'm like, man, Nashville. And we premiered The Last Movie Star with Burt and Chevy Chase and Ariel Winter, that actually lives here now. She was from Modern Family. And we premiered at the Tribeca Festival. Our first meeting was with A24, sold the movie immediately. And I had this whole proposal to give to Gordon. And it was it was a full-on printed out deck. And it was where I'm going to live and where the office is going to be and what we're going to do in Nashville. And went back to LA packed and moved here.
Wow. And So that was, you moved here in 2016 too. That was all
This
in that
was
year?
the end of 2017.
End of 2017.
Yeah.
And so you didn't know John T before that?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And so, since you started with John, and I love John, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
I mean, just solid human. And
he does what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
And he does some very difficult things.
Yeah. No, he's an impressive guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate him. But yeah, you partner with John, and what all have you done? What have you been doing the last, I guess, 7 years, 8 years?
So
yeah, 7.
So we did the movie with Gordon. Gordon, they own about 30 companies, and they kind of did the movie, and that's kind of what they wanted to do. And then they move on to do these other things. And he introduced me to John, and we put Black Walls together. And, at that point we were kind of putting the infrastructure in for the entire state of Tennessee. So, there hadn't been, you had the Nashville TV show, but there wasn't a lot of like film production going on. And, John is huge, dialed in politically. And, we just, met with the governor and did all these meetings and trying to like get more money for the state. And then in that time frame, there was a guy named Brian Conley that was, had done some movies and was from Knoxville. And, John did what John does. John dials in, sets it up, connects it. And then we kind of put a company together with Brian, and we started focusing on bringing movies to Tennessee, doing projects. Brian had done a big horror movie on Netflix called The Basement. It's pretty brutal. I mean, it's like, it's a legit horror movie. And we kind of had put together some things, and literally COVID hits. And, I had put together some things with Adam Sandler and Rob Schneider, and we were going to bring these comedies, and me, John and Brian were going to produce these comedies with Adam Sandler and Rob Schneider. And, then we're raising the money, and the whole time Sandler's like, why do you want to shoot in Tennessee? Like, I like to shoot in Hawaii and like these fun places, which now I kind of get to, but, COVID hit, and the investor that I brought in is just like
out.
Still have never heard from the guy. So, that was kind of a hard time, and we're kind of putting something together, trying to, basically, it was impossible to get anything done. I mean, me and Brando got into like let's start selling millions of dollars in masks and gloves and things
right.
to people, and we got some big contracts, and I know I just jumped all over the place, but we really were like trying to figure out what we could do. And as it progressed and the world progressed and you could finally start doing things, we came up with a movie from Marcus Efron called Last Night on Earth. It's a contained project, limited cast. They're out in the wilderness. Perfect COVID project. So we put together this movie for Knoxville again, and we shot the end of 2021. And it's an amazing cast. It's Shane West, who's one of my best friends, and he lives here now. Levin Rambin from The Hunger Games. Jake McLaughlin from Quantico, that's on Will Trent now. This girl Sylvia Rodriguez from Animal Kingdom. It was kind of an end of the world thriller, so it kind of fell into like the horror thriller type genre. And we actually just premiered that in LA a couple weeks ago. But it was funny shooting during like the COVID restrictions, and poor John went through that because, we just were like, it'll be much easier on all of us if you become the COVID compliance officer and you take the class and you handle the COVID restrictions. All we did is just add an entirely terrible part of the project for John. And John he was the first one on set. He was the last one on set. He had to be there at 5 a.m. with the nurses, with the entire crew just staring at him because all they want to do is get to the coffee and the catering.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, the whole industry is weird how it works, because when I hear you explain it, and you had this, I had this actor, and seeing kind of how you put these projects together. I shouldn't say weird. It's interesting to me because it's not what I thought. You know, it seems like each project is individual. You have money that you raise for every one. You have like a P&L that you send out. Basically, this is what the projections are. And so every project, you have to start over raising money. And the goal is to make money, obviously, on the project for yourselves and the investors, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like, you're always the executive producer, right? You and John. And you get a percentage of the project. Is that kind of how EPs, like you get X, whatever the percentage is, and then the rest goes to, does the director as well? Does how is it kind of lined up?
Everybody has an individual deal. So, and now that we're doing everything through Scene, it's me and Brando are the ones going through, and we have, right now we have about a dozen projects. I've emailed you every single one, obviously, because that's what I do.
Yeah. So I guess, and your model is you take movies that are almost done but might need some extra funding at the end, because I'm sure films run out of funding all the time.
Yeah.
It's like,
you always need that last money.
Yeah. And then, so it's kind of like, it's not the same thing, but I look at it like kind of like hard money in a way, because they need it. And you're like, well, we can get this, but we got to get first out as well. Right.
Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. And it's an amazing model, because we're only doing it on the projects that we know are going to be sold, big releases, big stars.
Yeah. I mean, because when I see the projects that you have, it is like, a bunch of A-list, type actors and actresses. And it's like, oh, I've got this one. Do you want to do this one? So if anybody's looking to invest, I'm not a movie investor, but it's, as I told you, because I don't know anything about that. I generally don't invest in things, or I don't invest in things that I don't understand. But, the more I understand, you never know one day. Because it seems like what type of returns are you getting for these people? I
mean, you get two returns. I mean, you get the money that you put in, you get a big percentage back on that, and then you also get the points on the back end. So, we're in a waterfall with everybody in the movie.
Well, that's cool. So, you started this company with Brando, right? Is John part of that company too?
This one's me and Brando, and then we hired Drew Schultz, that Drew's running our talent management part of it. Me and John still have Black Walls for certain projects, and then we have got Scene. I felt very confident in January that me and Brando had something special that we were wanting to put together, and it's been exactly what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So I mean, you're hiring. You're kind of like not kind of like, you are a modeling agency as well. How has the recruitment of the models been?
I had a lot of my own clients for the last 20 years. And that's how all these movie projects have even happened too, because I have the relationships and people trust me and they know that I'm bringing them. The investors trust me and the producers trust me. So that's how that's all kind of happened. But the same way with the models, I've had a lot of these clients over the last few years, and we kind of like, where I go, they go. I mean, it's just they always kind of come.
Yeah. And you got some from Nashville as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're actively recruiting more in Nashville. It's funny, we need more people in Nashville than we do LA. Really?
I guess the big local one in Nashville is oh gosh, what's the guy's name? Who would you say is another bigger one in Nashville?
I don't want to say his name.
Oh, okay. No, I can't even think of it.
No, we do. We work a lot with Tribe. They're one of the top 50 agencies in the world. I mean, they're a great agency. They're local based. We like dealing with Sherry a lot. She probably has the best eye in Nashville. She's probably the best agency.
Nice.
There's a few that they throw like parties, and they do, they do a lot on social media, but when it comes to actual with the work part of it, when I came over here, I kind of just wanted to kind of fill everybody out, and there's really nobody doing what we're doing because we have the access to LA and New York, and we're wanting to do like Miami and kind of book these people all over the world.
Yeah. Maybe put an office in Miami too?
I mean, with kind of what we were talking about on some of the other things, we're already looking at doing that.
Yeah. And so I know you can say you can't say everything, but you're close to a deal with Playboy, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all the way back to my first days in LA, I was working a lot with a lot of the top playmates, and they're these beautiful, trained. They want to really get into TV and film. So we were booking them directly with Playboy. We were booking their TV shows and their films and their commercials and their print jobs and things like that. So we've decided to continue that relationship as they're rebranding the entire company right now. We're doing a deal that we'll be doing their casting, we'll be doing their city searches, their management, and we're going to be putting together some productions that'll kind of like air all of this. And it's not the nudity, not that type of thing that we're doing. We're doing the vintage Playboy image that was like the Playboy Club in like the early days, and the bunnies and the actual Playmate.
Yeah.
We're going to reinvent the Playmate.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah. I'm disappointed that the Playboy Mansion sold. They did away with the grotto. I mean, legendary stuff, but
yeah,
all gone now. So we can't ever do a party out there.
We're kind of working on that too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What did that house sell for? Do you know?
I don't know, but I know that Hef was able to live there after he sold it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's funny because actually when we're on these conversations with the execs, and me and Brando are the only two that I've actually ever been to the mansion.
Yeah, Brando lived there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He was 16.
He
Talk
was
about
16.
a time to be there.
Yeah, he said that he had the floats, and he would have his head under because he wasn't allowed to be out there when the models were or something. But he would like pop his head above and go under. They couldn't see him. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
being 16, living in the Playboy Mansion.
Once you get Brando to talk about things, because you ask him about his acting, and they'll be like, "Oh, what are you in?" He goes, a bunch of things.
Yeah,
like he'll never gonna go in to tell you what he's done because but I mean, if you we'll get him into telling some real stories. Yeah,
no, he's in a lot. I knew I saw him somewhere before we met. And I'm like, oh yeah, Dexter.
Oh yeah,
he was the what was that killer's son?
Trinity Killer.
The Trinity Killer's son. Like, I knew I saw you.
It's funny. He actually called me last night, and because he's in Utah doing some production meetings, and literally I turned on Netflix as I answered the phone, and it was the trailer for Dexter, and I was just like, come on.
Yeah, that's funny. The funny thing is, like, when people think about modeling agencies or film and movies, they don't particularly think about like good people. Not in a like not. Like,
I agree.
It's like just kind of like, that's got to be. But what I know about you and Brando and John, like, y'all are awesome people, like very high values. And it's not the preconceived perception of what that is.
Yeah. I mean, I always had it in my head that I'm not going to do anything that's going to disappoint my family, and I can always go home if this goes south.
Yeah.
So, it's like the whole thing with the Entourage story. I mean, I was like, well, worst case, I get fired and I go back to Tennessee because, I'm going to get this show and I'm going to do it right.
Yeah. What were some of your mentors as you were, kind of growing this? I guess James Cameron would be considered one, right?
Yeah. I mean, those stories are just crazy. I mean, they're just, the dinners and the lunches and the stories that we have in the short time we had with those guys, pretty crazy.
Like what?
We all went to Dave and Buster's once, and once they figured out, like, okay, I'm gonna have a briefcase of $25,000 delivered to Dave and Buster's because we're not sure how much money we're gonna spend, and we're like, I think these probably cost like $1. I think we're good, but they're just funny, like going on to the Avatar set, time and time, and then we went to watch James's cut of The Abyss and why it's a 3-hour movie, and his cut's so different than the original, and he's the reason why. Like, movies didn't go over 2 hours. Now they go over 2 hours. Like, he was the reason why. He wanted the director's cut. He wanted, to be able to have more say with the studios, because the Abyss that's released that everybody's seen is not the movie that he released.
Really?
It's, his cut's like a completely hour. You basically take the end of the studio movie and then add another hour to it.
Wow.
It's a completely different movie.
Is it better?
Yeah, it was incredible. But I could see everybody, there was probably like 30 of us that went to see it at Fox, and I could just tell, like, nobody wanted to get up and be the first one to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll be first. I don't care. Like, I gotta pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he yell out, I gotta pee?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, and just it's just cool to see somebody that, I called him the last great tyrant. You don't have those type of directors. I mean, I'm a big Michael Bay fan. So, I mean, I like those type of, like, characters.
Were you friends with Michael Bay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's, what did Michael Bay do? What was his?
He did the Bad Boys franchise. He did Transformers.
Okay.
I'll never forget. I dated this girl forever in LA, and she's still close to me. I mean, we did her sister's bachelorette party here in Nashville, but I had put her on Transformers 2, and the night before we're at dinner, we literally run into Michael Bay on Hollywood Boulevard, and I'll make a joke. I'm like, hey man, I don't want my girlfriend coming home all like dirty and bloody tomorrow. Huh. And he kind of looked at me really weird and was like, why do you say that? I'm like, because you like to blow shit up. He literally goes, I love to blow shit up. Huh. He goes, I almost burned down an apartment building today. Like, he just is huge in his character.
Yeah. He got in trouble though, didn't he? Like a couple years ago? I
mean, well, probably because he'll throw extras into a stunt scene.
Oh, wow.
You have to be careful. That's why you have an agent.
Yeah.
You have your team. I mean, like, literally my ex came home. She was just beaten. And I was like, what happened? And she was like, well, Megan Fox's stunt double lined up beside me. I'm like, that's when you stop and call me.
Yeah.
And literally they were like, when we say action, you run to that door as quickly as possible and you do not stop, because everything will be blowing up around you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She survived.
Yeah.
What are some other, interesting, James Cameron stories? Like, you're having lunch with, one of the greats, and like, what are some lessons that you learned? I
mean, we were close. I mean, I literally still have a key to his brother's house in Hollywood. That I spent a lot more time with his brother. His brother lived like a couple miles away, and we'd spend a lot of time together. James is more in, he lived up in the Palisades, and then his office was down at Raleigh Studios. But they have, when you pulled up to the studio, there were 2 spaces, and they had the initials like DFPH, which meant don't fucking park here. Huh. And he just had like he was always a step ahead. I mean, they love their tequila. They would do all these toasts. I mean, you would go to dinner and you probably would do 15 toasts, which means you probably took 15 shots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a constantly situation where you're like swapping the tequila with water.
Yeah.
Cause I don't even drink liquor to begin with.
Yeah.
So we're always switching. And then like literally when somebody wasn't looking, we'd switch it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. You hit him with the real shot.
Yeah.
And so, what did you work on with them? With that company?
We really just had our company together. Like, we didn't do a project or anything together. That's right after we had Film Engine and done Hunter's Prayer with Sam Worthington. So he was trying to keep me focused on my management stuff, and just kind of paid us to be around. It wasn't like, I mean, I know James Cameron didn't have interest in me consulting with him.
Sure. Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it's an interesting person in the industry to be around.
Yeah,
because of all the success, and I can only imagine the knowledge that you get from that type of experience.
Yeah, I mean, we would go to set, and we'd always give tours of his studios, and this he had this soundstage for Avatar, and it's just literally an empty soundstage with just like all the cameras that speak to each other within 0.08 seconds or whatever it is, and then like the people that are stitching the cameras together, but it's just an empty set. So basically everything within these like duct tape is Pandora, And then you'd go to the next soundstage, and it was literally the Titanic from the Titanic movie, and all the props and the cars. And then there would just be something laying on the ground over here, and it would be like Sigourney Weaver's suit from Aliens. And then you look over here, and there's the real alien that's almost like a 12-foot tall action figure.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I mean, you've just been in it so long, it probably doesn't, I don't say register to you, but
yeah, it's weird to talk about now.
You've had a lot of experiences that most people, I mean, a lot of these people are so famous that they're just your friends.
Yeah.
So it's not anything. It's not anything weird to you. And I mean, I have that kind of same experience with a lot of my friends are famous too. And but you forget from the outside. Like when I see, for instance, like you work with Johnny Depp. Mm-hmm. What was that like? That's really cool.
I mean, I'll never forget going to his house, and these are people that as I'm coming up in Hollywood, they're in a whole nother level. I mean, I'm going to Marshall's to buy these fancy pajamas to go to his pajama party. Huh. Like I'm not going to Ralph Lauren or Rodeo Drive.
Right.
And I'll never forget. I get to his house, and I'm like walking around, and kind of like looking. Obviously, you're looking for him, and looked for him, and I'm like. No, like where is he? So I call him, I'm like, hey, I'm at your house. He goes, yeah, I know. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, where are you? He goes, France. I'm like, wait, it sounds like you said France. Yeah, France. I'm like, you're in France. He's like, yeah. I'm having the party tonight. You guys have fun. I'm like, okay.
He had a party without him there.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Very rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But y'all have fun. Was it a fun party?
It's great. Yeah. I mean, I met my first girlfriend in Hollywood there. Yeah.
That's awesome. How did you meet Johnny Depp?
Just being in the scene, and our company Film Engine had done the Rum Diary with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, actually.
Oh, really? So, did you ever meet Amber Heard?
Yeah.
Was she batshit, as they say?
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah, total. I watched that trial.
It was crazy.
I mean, she pooped on the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was real.
It was really crazy to the point of like, okay, wait, like they met on our movie, and then here's everybody in the world like watching this.
Your movie almost ruined his life.
Yeah.
He turned out looking good though. Like I'm a bigger Johnny Depp fan.
Oh yeah.
Now that I saw that
That's
trial.
who he is. I mean, he's just JD. I mean, he's just kind of like, he's like the guy. I mean, like, Hollis, and Hollis's stories with him too.
Yeah.
So, and how me and him did it, because we were kind of like intertwined the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. That trial, I mean, I don't really follow Hollywood, et cetera, but how can you not when the woman is being being questioned on the stand about pooping in a bed? They're crazy when they poop in a bed. Yeah. Like that's as crazy as it gets.
I mean, to me, it was like her being a phenomenal actor she was just, I mean, everything's going on around her. Everything that she did. And then she's just still like staring straight ahead like, but I'm this.
Yes.
It was just so weird.
It was weird. And she's like talking to the jury, but it was awkward too.
Yeah.
And then the Johnny Depp's attorney was so good at asking these questions.
Yeah.
And Amber Heard's attorney, I mean, when she asked questions, like she got tore up.
Yeah.
It's hard though. I mean, think about it. You're a lawyer, your client shit the bed, literally. And, is being questioned about that on the nightstand. I mean, it was pretty hysterical. And Johnny Depp was super cool, super laid back. It was obvious that he got hosed because, he married this crazy lady.
Yeah. I mean, he was just honest. I mean, he was just himself and honest the whole time. And that's kind of, that's who we all want to be like. We want to be that good person and not.
Yeah. Well, he admitted certain things were wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, basically, I know this is screwed up. I was dealing with an addiction. And, I appreciated how open he was with it because, I think he helped out men a lot in there because, when you get these crazy women, we needed to show that, hey, sometimes you get a lady that's batshit. And if you're watching that trial, this is how I knew, like, there's certain things I do to test how how wacko people are. The people that supported her, like you're the ones like, okay, stay away. It's like a box to get it. Don't let them close ever. And, you know, but Johnny Depp, he was like a freaking stud in there, just, you know, just being honest, acknowledging, you know, where he did wrong, but, you know, clearing his name. The fact that he fought till the end to clear his name, because before that, the headlines were really in favor of Amber Heard. I mean, that before the trial. But when the trial came out, it was like, it was obvious this guy was taken advantage of by...
He was abused.
He was abused by an insane lady that shit in the bed. And that's all you got to say.
Yeah.
She was so mad and crazy that she pooped in the bed. You know, she left a hot turd like sitting on the bed. That's wild to think about. This like heat was coming off of that bed.
Pretty malicious.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and but there are, you know, there's crazy people like that, men and women like that.
Yeah.
But if he wouldn't have taken it to trial and had a public trial, nobody would really know that. They would have given him a bad name for it.
Yeah.
So that took a lot of guts.
I mean, he was still going out and doing rock shows like in England and places, and then coming back to court the next Monday is pretty wild to watch.
Yeah, it really was.
But that's what you get. He's such a good guy, and you know, he's a rock star.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a rock star, and he's been through it. I mean, Viper Room back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, just all the stories from all the years.
Yeah. Those days were pretty. I miss going to the Viper Room, and you know, I don't tell anybody, but I dated Brittany Murphy back in those days, and post Ashton Kutcher, and that was a fun part of Hollywood.
I can only imagine. Yeah. I can only imagine. Scotty was in Hollywood back then too, and he was in Brazil for a little while during that time. But a lot of our friends that were fighters were bouncers at all the clubs, so we had pretty good access as well. We never had to wait in line, and always got tables and those type of things. But it was fun, man. I mean, it really was fun. We spent a lot of time at the Comedy Store, of course, but you know, it is different now. I mean, but I also wonder, because I'm not really into the clubs. I don't go to clubs anymore. I haven't in years, but
we did that one night.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
with the Struts.
That was fun though.
Yeah,
that was a good time. Yeah, last time we were in LA together, we went to this club. Laura went to a concert, and then I had a sneeze attack in the club.
That was a real sneeze attack.
It was. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but it's not going to stop. And everybody's looking at me thinking COVID. It is LA. So, you know, you have everybody worried about COVID. Like, is he spreading? I'm like, oh, the particles are spreading on everybody here. But it was, that was a fun night.
Luke Spiller's birthday, the Struts.
Yeah, I started listening to the Struts after that. They're a cool band.
They're fun.
Yeah. Burt Reynolds became your good friend.
Yeah.
What was that like, getting to know Burt?
Man, I mean, like I said, that was just a magical experience. I mean, I remember how intimidated I was to meet him the first day on set. We also had cast Chevy Chase as his best friend. And Fletch is one of my favorite movies. But getting to know Burt for the months that we were together, you know, we brought him to Nashville because we were shooting in Nashville, and I'd never heard of Manuel. And we took him to Manuel's studio, and Manuel, I mean, he made all of Elvis's jumpsuits. He made all Johnny Cash's clothes. Him and Burt used to hang out.
Oh, wow.
And putting them together, and literally it was like, hey man, remember that night that John Wayne knocked the horse out? I'm like, okay, like you got to tell the rest of the class, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just always like these just incredible stories of like, he was literally the biggest movie star in the world. He's the only person that had been #1 in the box office for like 5 or 6 years straight.
Yeah.
I mean, like that doesn't happen. I mean, you have like Brad Pitt, that's like 2 years in a row. It's got he was the icon.
Yeah.
He was the ladies' man. He's the man everybody wanted to be.
People don't realize that. This is like, Burt Reynolds was as big as they get, as big of a star as you could be back in his time.
Yeah. And first day on set, we shot in Nashville, then we moved to Knoxville. And we're shooting at Neyland Stadium, where my brother played football his entire college career. And for me, like, I'm just standing in the end zone, looking at the stadium, just being like, I'm back here. Like, how am I back here? This is just so crazy. And I feel this hand on my shoulder. And, you know, we literally had a stunt guy walk for Burt. Like, he did not move well. And we had this amazing guy, Paul Kelly, that John Black's friends with. We're all friends with him, but John Black knew him. And he worked with Burt every single day on set, and he would stretch him out and make him limber. And like we're not sure Burt would have made it through or been able to complete the shoot if Paul hadn't worked with him like he had and like kind of make him, you know, able to move around. And because we're working 17, 18-hour days. I mean, this is like tough on anybody. And I'll never forget this hand on my shoulder. And he like leans in, he goes, sometimes life's full circle. And at that point, I just was like, everything's great.
That's awesome.
And he just, you know, he was always funny. I mean, he had a Florida State flag out of his trailer because he's a huge Florida State fan. And, you know, we would be having catering. And I mean, Burt's like, you know, I'm 80 years old, I'm eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
And he'd be in his trailer eating cheeseburgers. And, you know, we were like, everything's going so great. And I was doing the casting, and we had this wedding shoot day, and I was like, you know, we're gonna have 150 extras at a country club. Let's invite all of our friends and family. Let's just make this like the family day. And, you know, I had my entire family there. Everybody had their families and friends, and Burt's at the top of the wedding, and he gets up on stage and he's singing with the wedding people for the scene. And I'm like, what is Burt doing? And I'm like, is he winking at my mom? He was like hitting on my mom in the middle of the shoot.
Oh, that's funny.
And I walk up and I'm like, Burt, that's my mom. He goes, I know. And my dad is like, I think it's cool Burt Reynolds is hitting on your mom. But he was just like that all the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was as big as they got, really. Yeah. I mean, people don't realize. I guess most millennials or Gen Z wouldn't know who Burt Reynolds is. Well, Gen Z probably wouldn't know who Burt Reynolds is. Some millennials would. But yeah, he did. What were all the shows that he did back in the day? You remember?
I mean, obviously Smoking the Bandit. I still want one of those cars.
Yeah.
I mean, he went back to Gunsmoke. We even had Kathleen Nolan play his ex-wife with dementia, and they had a scene from Gunsmoke, black and white, beautiful blonde movie star Burt, and they do this embrace and kiss. We put that scene in the movie, and then she was in the movie as well, like later on. So nobody knows that they were like the same person. And then but Smoking the Bandit and all the cannonball runs, and I mean, he turned down James Bond. He turned down Han Solo. I mean, he turned down Pretty Woman.
Wow.
That's the one I think he thinks he should have taken that one, but you know, he didn't want to be James Bond because he wasn't English, and he would have been awesome.
Yeah, he would have. He would have been awesome. Anything he did back in the day.
He definitely regretted some of those decisions because he definitely went for the more commercial pictures.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to make choices in life, and I'm sure he did what he thought was best at the time.
Yeah.
It made sense at the moment, and hindsight's always 2020.
Yeah. I actually took my dad to his funeral, and there was about 50 of us that went. Gordon, that I mentioned, that produced the movie with us, he came, and there was really only about 50 of us at the funeral in Palm Beach, and Burt actually spoke at his funeral.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
How? What did he say?
They played where he had spoke at like a Christmas sermon. They kind of they cut and put it together, and it was pretty cool.
Nice.
And it was funny. It was just like 50 of us, and then like it was like Vanilla Ice and like some crazy like people you'd never expect to see at Burt Reynolds' funeral.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you have a lot of interesting friends.
Yeah.
Over that many years.
I still spend time with him at like he has this statue at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in LA. He's got like front row on the water. It's pretty cool to go. Just kind of, it's very emotional. Like I just get to go there and just like I'll just spend 10 minutes when I go to LA and just kind of like really miss those moments.
Yeah, man. He seems like a great dude overall. What would you say is your biggest accomplishment? What do you look at as your biggest accomplishment?
I think just coming back here and just doing what really makes me truly happy.
Nice.
I mean, I feel like having good friends like you and some of the friends that we share, and it's just know that we're kind of like I said, on the right path. It's just like I felt like my life changed last year, and just kind of this year's just been a new awakening to like what we know we can do and what we're all doing together.
Yeah, but what's cool is like, people don't realize in Nashville, it's a very supportive city. Especially amongst our friends, we're always happy when someone's doing well or got something going, and we have a lot of friends that are at different points in their life. Some that are just trying the music thing and haven't got a record deal yet, and then some with record deals, and some that are doing what you're doing. It's like it's a good group. Some that are doing anti sex trafficking work, and I really like that, because I think that's one of the things that makes Nashville special. Is you do have like a supportive community that wants to see you do good, and those that don't necessarily want that, they get kind of weeded out pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like get seen pretty quick. Pun intended. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do you think? You won a Emmy in 2018. What did you win the Emmy for?
It's for a project called Backstabber. So basically, there was a project that was kind of falling apart. I had a bunch of my clients that they had wanted for it. I went to set one day. I saw what was happening. I was like, hey, let me take over casting and produce with you, and just kind of restructured the whole project. And then then a couple years later, I literally got an Emmy in the mail.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You didn't know that you were getting it?
No.
Oh, that's cool.
No, it wasn't even like a passion project. It was just something that I kind of helped with. And I know that I did come in and save the project and kind of put it together, because it was just kind of like this one guy was just kind of like trying to do too much. And I was like, oh man, we can help you do this and do it easy. And then last year, John Black had put together this project called The Dragon with Red Bull, and they shut down this road as one of the top 10 most dangerous roads in the world. They shut it down for North Carolina and Tennessee, brought out the Red Bull racing team, and literally raced it for 3 days. And right after we wrapped Last Night on Earth, me and John went and shot that. And it's 318 turns and 11 miles.
Wow.
And we just literally just drove it every day for 3 days with this Red Bull racer. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. What are you involved with the Wings for Life charity as well?
I've been to some of the events with Greg and John. We're working on a couple deals with Red Bull. With Black Walls.
Yeah, that's cool. The stuff they do for the spinal injured patients.
Crazy.
I
mean, you helped Paul.
Yeah, we got to help Paul. That was cool. Paul was already on a right path. I don't like to, I can't take much credit for it, honestly. I think we helped with his pain, but Paul, his hard work is really what's been made the difference.
We all met him at the Wings for Life dinner. He was sitting at our table in a wheelchair, and then like a few months later, he's riding mountain bikes again. It's crazy.
Yeah, for those that don't know, our friend Paul was a professional mountain bike racer at one of the Red Bull events. He basically fell off a cliff while racing. He rode off a cliff and had a spinal cord injury. He was completely paralyzed. And so, he went down and did stem cells, actually at it's a friend of mine's place. They don't have it anymore. It was a company called Stemedica. It was their cells. And they're a biotech in the US, but they had a place they were doing clinical trials in Mexico. And he actually got really good results from that. And then came down again to see us after that, after we met. And he kept getting better and better. And Paul just completed the marathon. I was going to say Music City Marathon.
I think so.
But it's called something else now. Yeah, Rock and Roll Marathon here in Nashville. So he completed the full damn marathon. And we had dinner that night after. And he's just such an inspirational dude, man. Just such a good spirit, kind-hearted, overcome a tremendous amount of adversity. You got to get him on the podcast too.
Yeah.
Tell a story. But
I feel like those type of athletes just have something that no one else has. I mean, Beaver has that.
Yep.
There's just like no fear, there's no limit that they can do.
Yeah. Now Beaver's a wild guy too. I mean, I was watching a bunch of his videos, and I mean, first person to do 2 backflips, double backflip on a skateboard.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Have you been to any of those nitro circuses?
Yeah, we went to the finale. Me and John went last year to the finale in Anaheim, and it was like, he had just done that trick. Travis Pastrana had just done the 2 on the dirt bike, and they were just I mean, it's just crazy how easy they make everything look.
Yeah, Travis Pastrana is another wild one.
Yeah,
I got to meet that guy. He's incredible.
He's funny. Like it's just so funny because he's just like this, like such a happy guy. And he even walks happy.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of always kind of like that guy. And then all of a sudden he gets on anything with wheels. And because that's what they always say, like he can race anything with wheels.
That's awesome.
It's just crazy to that's the same guy that was just like joking around and probably smacking you in the balls 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. That's funny. I heard if you go to his place, you got to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
And why is that?
I mean, John will answer more than that, but yeah, it's just kind of like he's going to convince you to do something dumb.
I see.
And like, I'm risk management. I'm like, I said that yesterday. I was like, I saw what he did to Johnny Knoxville's ball sack, so I'm pretty.
Yeah, what happened to Johnny Knoxville's ball sack?
They did its jump, and literally Pastrana was like, all right, Knoxville, whatever you do, don't let the bike come down on you. What happens? Goes up, Knoxville comes down, bike lands on Johnny Knoxville, and the tires are still rolling, and it just like square in, just did some damage. And that's where John was saying that that literally he stood up, and it was like every time his heart would beat, there was like he was shooting blood out his felt like he was peeing his pants.
Yeah.
Every time he would breathe.
From his balls.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I feel like have zero. Either I'm smart or I have just zero interest in doing any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just know I'm not.
I mean, but you're an athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, you competed at a high level in track, also as a cyclist. Yeah. What was that like? Back when you were competing in cycling.
It was my life. I mean, I just really didn't think any different. I mean, I would, on Sundays, I had very great parents to just be like, all right, I'll be back. I'm going to go on a probably 120-mile ride to North Carolina, and I'll see you tonight sometime.
Wow.
And I'm just literally on the highways, like riding by myself. I mean, it's very like individual, very like lonely. I mean, a lot of times. And a lot of times when you're in the peak of the race, I mean, you're in your head. There's nothing else going on. And I grew up with Greg LeMond as my hero, and he had won the Tour de France. That's the first race I ever saw was him winning the 1989 Tour de France. And it wasn't like social media back then, so I didn't really have access to like get a hold of these people. But somehow I found his dad's phone number, called his family, and I'm like, hey, like I want to ride with your son. And they were generous enough to kind of bring me in their lives, and kind of spent some time with him growing up. And then I was racing at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado, and kind of like those older guys in the crew were like Lance Armstrong and George Hincapie, who I want to hook you up with, because I feel like you guys can connect and bring the cycling world. You could change the world with them.
That'd be awesome.
And those were kind of like the big brothers to me, were those cyclists that I just lived to like ride with. And I think it's mentally prepared me for like a lot of the stuff I've done, because literally I'm like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be on the US cycling team, and I'm going to race professionally. And that's where I kind of had to make a decision in my life. I had a bunch of scholarships for track and cross country, and I was like, I can do this, or I can go to Europe and be a professional cyclist and make anywhere from like 40, 50 grand, or all the way up to like, you know, the top guys make millions of dollars, but on the teams, they trickles down to like not a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I know that it's a wild sport. People don't realize it's pretty dang dangerous too. I mean, you wreck on a bike going, you know, however many miles an hour.
60 miles an hour.
Yeah, going downhill.
We're in Lycra. There's nothing else.
Yeah, there's nothing.
No pads.
You're getting all skinned up. Do you ever have any bad wrecks?
Yeah. I've been hit by a car a few times. Got definitely had some fun wrecks. A lot of injuries that way, but I still follow it pretty well. Like we're about to shoot a movie in Greece, the same time as the Tour de France is going on. So some of the guys, obviously still involved for like commentating and stuff. I'm gonna try to go over there and see them at the Tour de France.
Yeah. When did you stop racing?
About the time I started getting involved more in Hollywood, and just that became my life. It was more girls and parties.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then John Black is he does mountain bikes, right?
Yeah. Oh man, he has always on his bike. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we traded lives. I'm like, you take the bike, I'll take the Hollywood.
So you don't go to you ever go with him?
No.
You ever been into mountain biking?
We did as like kind of like cross training and things like that. I mean, talk about wrecks. I snapped a mountain bike in half.
Oh.
There's a lot of it's a different sport. I always like the road. Like John doesn't like the road. Mm-hmm. And I like the speed and riding with people and the elbow to elbow. And then he likes the kind of like the solo track type, mountain sports and the jumps and stuff.
What's it like meeting Lance Armstrong?
He's cool, man. I mean, it's weird, because a lot of these people, he wasn't the only one doping. The entire, there's always like the rumors that everybody still is and things like that. But, Greg LeMond and his career, that was the end of the era of like the clean racing. Mm-hmm. And then you had a lot of these other teams that started figuring out how to like enhancement drugs and things like that. And, they just made a decision to keep racing and they wanted to be able to compete.
Yeah.
And it was a different world. And I remember seeing these races to where you're like the end of the eras. It was just kind of, I guess I just say it, but it's very interesting to watch. I mean, I'm still highly into it. There's a good docuseries called Unchained on Netflix. It's pretty entertaining to people that don't really, because obviously cycling is not a very exciting sport. And
well, I guess it can be if presented right.
Yeah, it's a good time right now. I mean, there's some really great young riders that are doing really well, and I'm still into it to a point. Like Greg LeMond sent me a bike. He owns some really cool like e-bikes, and he sent me one last year that I'm riding around town a little bit.
Do you e-bike?
You have a cool
I've
e-bike.
got 3. Yeah, I love them, man.
Yeah,
I want to get one of those. There are a couple pedicabs. Mm-hmm. That have people in the back.
Yeah,
and just drive people around.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun just to.
You see people like zipping up the hill in downtown.
Oh yeah. I want to get some pedicabs for the city because being right here, it would be perfect. I can keep them in the garage. We could have 2 pedicabs, 4-seaters each. So it's 8 people. 8 of our friends can go out, get a couple sober drivers. We can have a cooler in the back of the pedicab. And
me and Eric actually did that one night.
Nice.
Can't remember where we were going, but he goes, "Get in the pedicab. We're taking it out."
No, I love it. He had a pedicab?
We just
rented one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fun. Actually,
Yeah.
I got this vision for us, Richie. We're gonna have a great time.
Man.
We're gonna have a great time. You got that the Sprinter? Have you ever been out in the Sprinter that we have?
No.
Oh, you got to take the Sprinter out too.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we really want to get one for the Playboy casting and scene just to have around town.
Yeah, well,
Brando, we want the van because literally he's been giving me a hard time because I'm like, I've been looking at him online. I'm like, scene just really needs a Sprinter van.
Yeah,
we can have like the assistant come pick us up in the morning and take us to the office, and it'd be our billboard on the way to work.
Yeah,
and be working. Snoop used to have one that he would like roll around Hollywood with, and he would do his meetings, and he would just it was really cool.
Anything else you want to cover?
I don't think that. Maybe just the Miss USA thing.
Oh yeah. So What's going on with Miss USA? I know there's a lot of drama right now, and you're kind of in the middle of it because you represent the Miss USA that stepped down, correct?
Yeah. So starting out all the way literally from my New York to LA days, we represented a lot of the Miss Universe and USA talent. Fact, because they are the trained, they were grown into it. They, their families, like I say, grown into it. Their families kind of did this with them their whole lives, from the training to buying the gowns to to the fitness, to all of it. So we've always represented those girls, and then as we kind of progressed, then I started judging a lot of the states, and we used to go to Miss Universe and USA, and we'd get first pick of all the talent. So we were the ones booking their jobs and bringing them to LA, and then I moved to Nashville and got further involved with it. And we put together a team a couple years ago to actually acquire Miss USA through Miss Universe. And then there's been a lot of drama going in. There's been a lot of drama worldwide just through like some of the platforms that they've brought in. Like now you've got, you don't have to be a woman to compete anymore. There's no ages. They took away a lot. Like it's when Trump owned it, it was a beauty pageant, that strict beauty pageant. Like it should go back to the roots. And that was our plan, was to kind of take Miss USA and bring it back to its roots and let the girls compete. Like bring it, make it basic. Like
biological women compete.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like you're a woman, compete. It's a beauty pageant. Like you can't be over a certain age.
Can't be a fatty.
There's pageants for anything you want. Yeah. There's married pageants. There's whatever. Like then you go do those pageants. So we want to make Miss USA USA, and literally put the team together. And the woman that was setting up the meeting literally cut us out of the back of the deck and goes and gets Miss USA and cuts us out of it.
Oh, wow.
And she's went on to do a terrible job. A lot of the directors have quit. Literally, Miss USA quit a few months ago.
Yeah.
3 months before her reign was over. And there's a reason why. I mean, like being abused and bullied, and basically like you're supposed to be the face of the company, not the person running the company.
Right. That's for sure.
So it kind of like really has progressed worse and bullied, and then they have her under this terrible NDA, so they can talk shit about her all they want, but she can't defend herself. So we decided that we were gonna help her, and she came out to Cannes with us a couple weeks ago, got her on all the red carpets, and we had a great team that set all that up. Mara and Haley and Tom and these people that we're working with. We have a really strong team, and whether or not what happens, but we're definitely pushing and supporting Noelia, because she deserves more than what she went through, and she also deserves to be the face of the industry. Yeah.
So what happened with? I mean, you said that they were having her basically run the company, which is really strange. Yeah. When I think about Miss USA, I think you had this pageant or this this company behind you, and you are just the face. But you're not making decisions in the boardroom about.
Oh no! Miss USA was the woman that was running the company was the one trying to be the face of it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she was just kind of like bullying her out of the way.
Wow.
And I mean, when this is nothing pro, anti-Trump, whatever. When Trump owned it, they got off the plane after the pageant. They flew straight on his jet straight to New York. Got out. They had their apartment set up at Trump Towers, and all the girls were set. Like there was no failure in the infrastructure. There was no like funds missing. And I mean, the poor girl didn't have an apartment set up at all.
Really?
Like they just didn't live up to any of the obligations. I mean, you train for your entire life to get to the pivotal moment for you to take the pivotal crown, and then it's just the worst experience of your life. Like they don't deserve that.
No. So she became Miss USA, but all the things that she was promised if she were to move didn't happen.
Yeah, and they're putting her in like sketchy situations where they're like, "Oh, you're a girl, just deal with it."
Really?
No, you're putting her in a terrible situation, and you're not doing your job. Focus on the brand and the company. The people that are running it just don't know, or maybe they know the brand, but they don't respect the brand, and they're not keeping it to the what it was meant to be and what it was. The whole reason that anybody would want to be involved.
Yeah. No, it's that's jacked up. And they had like a biological man that is that Miss Universe or was that Miss? It wasn't Miss
That
USA.
owns it.
It was Miss Universe. There was a biological man that
owns it. Yeah.
No, but that was a biological man that competed and won as a woman.
Yeah, there's been a few of the countries that have done that, and then there's been a few contestants in the States, I think, that have done that. I haven't been as involved as I was as far as like all of it, but
I mean, when you have biological men winning women beauty pageants, it's pretty hysterical.
Sports and anything else. I mean,
but think about like men are the best women. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. Like men really are the best women if they're beating out. And as a guy, as a man, I know what it's like to think like a man, and I know those trans women aren't. They know the advantage that they have. There's differences between men and women.
Yeah.
And so when you're a biological man competing in a beauty pageant as a woman and you win, you're like, gotcha. Gotcha. See?
Or swimming or basketball or
Yeah.
I'm not sure the Olympics, they've kind of like taken a stand, right?
The Olympics aren't letting what's the guy's name? The swimmer's name. The swimmer. They're not letting her swim.
Yeah.
But it's obviously bullshit when you got a 6'5" man with a bulge, out of his swimsuit.
Have your own pageant, but don't change something that has such a legacy. Like you can't just change the brand. I mean,
right.
The brand's not judgmental. The brand was built for women empowerment and women to be women.
Right.
It has nothing to do with them at all. Like, stop making it about them. Like they make it about them when it has nothing to do with them to begin with.
Well,
like, just stick to your lane. If you want to copy something like that and do something like that, then do your own.
Well, and think about like for the women empowerment type thing. You think about how disempowering it is to have a biological man just say he's a woman and then get the same rights and treatment as a woman. Just because I say I'm a woman means I'm a woman. Like, that's ridiculous. And, the fact that, 2 out of the last 3 years, I believe that the Times Woman of the Year was a biological man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's straight up insanity.
It's a fucked system. I mean, it's just like, so we get to make up our own rules now. That changes everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's just postmodernism philosophy where, there is no universal truth and, they question pretty much everything and they turn what's factual completely upside down and say, well, that's really just your opinion.
Yeah. I want to be an astronaut. So, okay, cool. I'm going to die the first day I just write my certificate out.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do want to go to space though.
Yeah, well, hey,
I told James Cameron.
It's not that far off though.
Yeah,
because I think within our lifetime you're going to have a lot of space travel going on. If Elon has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I had about a 30-minute conversation with Elon, just one-on-one.
Oh, nice.
About that, and I'm literally the whole time thinking like, you're fucking insane.
Yeah,
I mean, we were at I think it was at a Golden Globes party. And we were both drinking Heinekens and we're like just having beers, being bros.
Yeah.
And he told me this whole 30-minute spiel on how he's going to nuke Mars and live on it. And I'm like, is that legal? Like, can you I guess if you have the access to nuke a planet, that's okay.
Why would you nuke it?
Because he was going to generate water or something.
Oh, wow.
Whatever it was, he was going to make water and make it more like, so he can chill on it and kind of get away from the crazy people here.
Wow. Yeah, they've really a lot of people have lost their minds in society. I feel like the pendulum's starting to swing back though a little bit,
I think it is back.
which is good. People are starting to speak out more and more because, you think about when all of a sudden it seems that people lost their mind. The arguments are so simple and logical that you don't even want to say it because you're like, what am I missing here? Like that's sort of,
sense.
it's like, this doesn't make so I got to be missing something. I think for, a couple of years, a lot of us were like, how do we approach this? Because it seems so crazy. We've got to have something, but now.
I think the fact that you don't understand it means you're sane. It means you're okay.
Right. Absolutely.
Because it's just not, like nonsense is always going to be nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, you try to, when you have people trying to convince you that men can get pregnant, that's when you know that you're on the right side against those type of idiotic thoughts and ideas.
I mean, people look back at our childhoods and be like, well, the parents were just being abusive. No, parents were being parents.
Yes.
That's the whole point of the system. And they're not abusing you to tell you that you're wrong or that you're not, a fireman.
Yep. Well, you were a competitive cyclist. I mean, you didn't just get a trophy for showing up.
No, and I still have those trophies and medals and things like that of my parents. I mean, it's just each one of those means something.
Yeah.
And I know what each one of them is and what I felt when I got it.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it is. What do you think really next 5 years or so in society is going to happen? Like, are you optimistic or are you like, oh, the shit's going down?
I mean, I'm optimistic to the point, but I'm also going to be protective of my family and friends. And, it's a different world. I mean, it's went from like 5 years ago, I probably didn't own a gun and probably wasn't taking it places and probably, was walking around not paying attention to where, last year, we went to the Air premiere in Beverly Hills and, we'd had a phenomenal time. It was like Ben Affleck directed the movie and it was the one about Michael Jordan and he had rented out this place called Wally's and we were all going to Beverly Hills and we are walking down one of the main streets and I see a guy walk out of a construction site and I'm like, Sunday night, the guy probably shouldn't be back there. And kept wanting to watch him kind of keep turning a little bit. Guy's following us down the street and I stopped, turned around and just squared up, looking right at him. And he just stopped and was looking at me. And I started walking towards him and he started walking across the street. So obviously he was up to no good.
Yeah.
And then I turned around, started walking again, crossed the street, following us again. And I'm like, oh, this guy's literally about to rob us. And I turned around and did exactly what you're not supposed to do. I started sprinting at the guy in the middle of Beverly Hills on a Sunday night. And I was like, this guy's literally probably going to pull a gun on us at some point. So,
what did he do?
Ran.
Really?
Ran. And I did not run as fast as I can run.
Yeah.
I didn't want to actually catch him.
Sure.
But, and I don't know what I would have done if I did. And, it's just being protective over, whatever, this year or over the next few years, it's just being protective of your life and your family. And we want the same thing and we want the world to be a better place, but we have to make it a better place. We can't just rely on the people in charge because obviously the people in charge probably don't have our best interests at heart.
Yeah.
But we all know that now.
Yeah. They don't have our best interest. That's for sure. And I just hope they haven't convinced enough people or brainwashed enough people that's too late. I feel like, the more we can speak, the truth about what's going on and calling out, I think it's as simple as good versus evil.
It is good versus evil. Evil's right out there in front of us now.
Right in front of us. And it's being sold to us as good.
Mm-hmm. And we're bad by being against it.
That's right. And so that's why I believe, we almost have a duty, not almost, we have a duty to call it out because, ultimately if it's good versus evil, the way I look at it, it's like God versus the devil.
It is God versus the devil. And
I want to be on the side of God, obviously. Yep. And so, and if
I see this straight out in the media and I hope everybody else sees what I see. For the first time in my life, I'm watched things and I'm like, no, I know that's just Satan propaganda thrown right in our faces.
Yeah.
And maybe before people were like, oh, that's just art, or it's it's entertainment. I'm like, no, that is a platform that's being shoved down your throat.
Yeah. There's so much of that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, propaganda, Satan propaganda, that's a good way to put it, but that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And, it's like, what was it at the Grammys, Sam Smith, a couple years ago, and it's like this whole satanic, performance, and he's in red and it's fire and demons. And it's like brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. Yeah. There's the video of it, or the picture of it behind you. Look at him. I mean, that's straight. Obviously, that's
doesn't
the
get
devil.
more obvious than that.
Yeah, and then brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
I mean, in the middle of COVID, like they are. That is messaging. Yeah. They're letting us know who they are.
Yeah, and it's more and more.
Yeah, by sponsoring that. We know when Biden won office, I thought it was really interesting. His victory speech, behind him was Chase Arena. Like, it's like, it was so obvious that, the message was, I'm, the banks are behind me here.
Yeah.
Chase is behind me.
Yep.
I'm like, gosh, and I can't even find a picture of that online anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like they probably, scrubbed it to where there's not that shot. But watching it that night, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
They're not even hiding it.
I mean, we literally have a group that goes to church here every week. So literally we're the opposite of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Like we're literally we're like, hey, you want to come to church with us? Come to church with us. I mean, it's just, I don't care what anybody's beliefs are. I mean, everybody's their own person, but if you don't see this and see the way that things are changing, or that how harder they're pushing it on people. Yeah. It's like, this is the world we live in, and we have to change it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, spending all that time in Hollywood, did you see it in the sets? Did you hear about these crazy, what about the parties? Did you hear about like demonic type parties?
Never that I was in the thick of it, but I feel like there's layers. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was in a layer that most people don't get to experience. And I was always smart enough. Like I said, I can always go home. Yeah. I could always come back and be happy with my family. And, I feel like I was always strong-minded enough to know, maybe people just didn't put me in that situation because I'm going to call them out. Yeah. But, there's, like I said, I was kind of doing a lot of stuff with more of like the Johnny Depps and the Paris Hiltons and people. And, when I see Britney Spears now versus then, like I knew Britney when Britney was Britney. Yeah. And that's not the same person I see. No. Like it's like whatever has happened is, not the same people. Yeah. So, I mean, she was like at the top of the world and hanging out at, and also we're hanging out in surface level places and sure. We're not going deep into like their lives. I mean, we're just enjoying what's going on. Sure. But when I see like her then versus now, I'm like, that's not who I knew. Right. Yeah. It was sad, kind of watching her. But there are like the sleazebag producers, directors, like the Weinsteins and stuff out there. Yeah. We definitely sued him twice on the Rum Diary. Really? So, I mean, as far as like him being a piece of shit, I mean, that was always the case and he didn't hide that. But we were not, I went to some Netflix parties and things like that where they were on like the step and repeat, but never spent time with him as far as. And you sued him for the Rum Diaries? Why did you sue him? I wasn't even involved in that part, but it just would have been like contractual stuff, like probably like money. I see. What about Kevin Spacey? Did you ever have any run-ins with Spacey? Yeah. Yeah. That guy's a sleazeball. Yeah. I only met him on an elevator and he was going to Netflix and our office was next to Netflix. And I just like looked at him and I was like, Mr. President. And he just broke. I mean, I broke him on the elevator. That's funny. And that was the entire conversation. Yeah. And then maybe like a month later, I saw him on the elevator again and he was looking at me and he was just like, I go, Mr. President? Yeah, there we go. But that was our only interaction. No, I mean, before all that stuff came out,
about him, the sexual assault. He tried to do that to one of my friends. It's a guy.
Yeah.
And attacked him at a party. And he said, yeah, he was there, and he was at Kevin Spacey's house, and he's hanging out, and he's a musician. And kind of everybody was leaving, and his phone wouldn't let him call an Uber because he's on, so I think he's in Malibu or something.
Oh yeah, man, I remember those hills days were tough and calling anything.
Yeah, and so he got stuck there basically, and Kevin had said, "Oh, come outside." And he was inside with the girl, but everybody's starting to leave, and the girl was leaving, and so he goes outside, and Spacey's in a jacuzzi with a bunch of other dudes all naked, and he's like, he's not gay. My buddy's not gay. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't call anybody. He's like stuck, at this house in Malibu. And so he goes to a bedroom and to sleep, basically. And he says he wakes up, and Spacey was on top of him trying to, get on him. He had to literally push him off.
Wow.
And, my buddy's not gay. Nothing wrong with being gay, but he's not.
Sexual assault is sexual assault.
Yeah. That's just, so yeah. And he had basically harassed my friend so much. My friend had blocked him.
Wow.
And so I knew about this. This was probably 2017 or so, 2016.
Yeah.
Before everything had come out. So, and my friend told me, yeah, there's other stories about him, blah, 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 blah. And so then when it did come out, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I just saw him on an interview last week where he's, crying, I've lost everything. But dude,
you're an actor.
Yeah, you're an actor.
You're acting.
That's right. So
that's where we're like, we'll never work with anybody that we feel is not doing and is not kind of living our life and kind of doing how we want to do things.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we're here. I mean, we can run our own studio, run our own destiny. If we fuck up, it's on us. We want to do big movies and obviously when you're on set, we want to work with our friends that we're going to be on set with for 15, 20 hours a day, and we love every second of it. Like, we're not going to work with these pieces of shit.
Yeah. No, that's good. Is Brando going to do any more acting?
I think we're going to find something. Some of these movies, if he's, I think, because, he was an American Sniper. If we could find like a movie like that he could play a role like that would be pretty cool.
I haven't seen American Sniper.
Oh, yeah, it's him, Bradley Cooper, and it had some accolades, but yeah, Brando was in it.
I have to go watch that. Yeah, we got to have Brando make a comeback.
It's funny, we had a girl come in the office this week, and we have like a lot of the movie posters, and he was in Alvin and the Chipmunks growing up, and the girl was like, "Oh, did you guys do some like voices on that?" I'm like, "No, Brando's actually in it."
Yeah,
live action Brando with the Chipmunks.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, Brando, he's the sweetest guy. Just like, he's very humble. You wouldn't
Across
know.
the board all the time.
I don't know. I've never gone to look and see what movies or shows he was in, but I know he did a lot of stuff.
He's not going to tell you if you ask him.
No, he keeps it. He's never brought up his career once. So, but I love that y'all are doing this now here in Nashville and bringing this, to Nashville. You've got good connections with the state, to where, getting the taxes right, getting the laws right.
Thanks, John Black.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, John Black. Yep. But that's key. And, Nashville really can, because Tennessee is such a competitive state.
Yeah.
Bringing it to Nashville's.
We can do much bigger things here.
Yeah.
We just need their support, really.
Yeah. Well, I know you'll get it. So, anything else you want to kind of go over here?
It's been great.
Well, thanks for sitting down and chat with me. Appreciate your friendship and all your help over the years, man. You're really good to me, and I appreciate your birthday. What's that? Yeah. You said don't miss my birthday?
It's almost your birthday.
It's almost my birthday. Yeah. You got to come to Columbia, man.
Yeah.
Let's go. So
cool.
All right. Thank you, Rich.